What's good, listeners? Welcome to the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, Bunker Edition. How's it going, Marissa?
It is going fabulous. The rain cleared up. We have our California blue skies again. I'm happy.
It's true. I mean, I was up early. I mean, when you hear that rain crashing down, especially when you haven't seen it in so long in SoCal, it's real. That's for sure. But we always like to start this off on the top of the show because on this day in 1982, Iron Maiden released their iconic track, Run to the Hills. Love that track.
Heck and
also
great.
Right? And I don't think we've ever done one of these yet on the show, Marissa, but on this day in 2021, today, defensive end J.J. Watt is released from the Houston Texans. That is huge. Franchise player. So we'll see. Maybe he might go to my Pittsburgh Steelers and play with TJ Watt and his little bro Derek Watt. We'll see. We'll keep our hopes up for all the Steelers fans out there. But we got a great show for everybody out there because our guest today on Strike a Chord is indie pop artist Cloe Wilder. And also, don't forget to check out our brand new YouTube episode drop featuring Just Talking, CCS contributor and host of Sports Matters, Kevin Drake. All right, Marissa, it's time to rock and roll. All right, this is hashtag TLDR. Too long, don't read. Marissa and I, we did all the reading for you, so you didn't have to do it. As baby boomers scream at millennials for ruining the world and vice versa, Gen Z is famous for belittling boomers. But now they have turned their attention to millennials and everything we hold dear. And an article from The Guardian titled, "The Culture War Between Gen Z and Millennials is On. The First Battle? Side Partings?" by Arwa Madawi. Millennials of the world, we must unite. You know those skinny jeans you used to live in pre-pandemic? Well, they're officially over, according to Gen Z. And do you even part your hair on this side? While evidence suggests that you're ancient, according to Gen Z, as you must part your hair in the middle. Okay, unless you want to look like Edward Scissorhands, I guess. And the most damning sign that we're all over the hill, however, is expressing laughter with the crying, laughing emoji. So don't be doing that no more, LeBron, okay? And according to our new Zoomer lords, amusement should be expressed by smashing letters on your keyboard. I mean, just a thought, Zoomers. We typed like this when it was cool to text on a razor, but you know what? Forget it. You don't even know what a VCR is, let alone how can I rely on you to know what a razor is? So, Marissa, I have to say, why is it that Gen X is always standing in the background, smoking a cigarette, taking zero blame for the way of life that we are now living in now? What's your thoughts?
Okay, well, Gen X checked out in the 1980s. They were like, we are done adulting. We're not doing it. I'm just going to ride on mommy and daddy's house. And kind of that's what's happening.
But that's some funny words.
I know. But for the Zoomers, you leave my crying emoji alone. I'll give you the side part. Okay. But crying emoji, no, and I'm keeping my jeggings. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a wise Gen Xer would probably tell us, what goes around comes around. And give it 10 years, and the Gen Z are going to be up in arms when Gen Alpha start cutting them off with, "Okay, Zoomer."
It looks like the hottest travel destination in 2021 is going to be Mars, because just in time for Lunar New Year, right? Because it's today. Happy Lunar New Year. For the first time, a Chinese spacecraft, Tianwen-1, has joined the worldwide hunt for extraterrestrial life on Mars. In an article from Politico titled, "Chinese Spacecraft Enters Mars Orbit Joining Arab Ship" by Associated Press, Beijing, a Chinese spacecraft went into orbit around Mars on Wednesday on an expedition to land a rover on the surface and scout for signs of ancient life. Authorities announced in a landmark step in the country's most ambitious deep space mission yet. The rover, a solar-powered vehicle about the size of a golf cart, will collect data on underground water and look for evidence that the planet may have once harbored microscopic life. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun,
I
dun,
mean,
dun.
I love seeing a worldwide curiosity, to explore space and extraterrestrial life. But what about Mother Earth? Because I'm pretty sure she is choking on all of our pollution. So, Chris, I mean, seeing as every country is working towards exploring new planets, right? Like, how is it that they can't even work towards cleaning up our home planet?
I think that's a really good point, Marissa. And I did want to point out to all the listeners that are tuning in that only the US has been successful enough to touch down on Mars. So no other country has been able to do what we have done because we're
and
the best.
not just once, but 8 times. USA is an 8-time champion. Okay.
But you know what I just find so fascinating about it? It's just like how you mentioned, they're dropping a golf cart sized rover. Like, that's so insane to me. And I don't know much. Obviously, I'm on the radio, but when I think about that gravitational pull and the fact that they're going to use like a parachute to try to softly land this bad boy down, that's pretty gnarly stuff.
Well,
I mean,
and one of the cool things too is there are 6 other spacecraft right now orbiting Mars, and there are 3 US, 2 European, 1 Indian, now a Chinese, and then we're going to be having another American. And the reason why is every 2 years the alignment of Mars and Earth is at its closest. So that's why there is so much activity right now on Mars.
You are such a guru when it comes to the red sand.
I know. Well, hey, look, I know the year of the rat was horrible for all of us, which was predicted by the Chinese. So the Chinese prediction for the year of metal ox is keep calm and carry on.
Well, I just have to say, Marissa, where was PETA to be upset about ox? Isn't that, like we said last week, that's, supremacist terminology?
Well, because the ox is held in high standard, they're probably not going to argue it. It's the rat that is looked at as a bad year to have. So every 12 years is horrible, and PETA might have a problem with the rat's representation.
Gotcha. Well, hit me with that other swish again. Hit me with the swish. I love it, Marissa. Alongside worn underwear, people are selling face masks that they've worn inside thongs and panties. In an article from Vice titled, "Pussy-Scented Face Masks Are the Hot New Pandemic Fetish Item" by Samantha Cole. So for fetish item sellers, the pandemic is an opportunity for a new kind of item, pussy mask. And yes, you heard that right. Pussy mask. On Sniffer, a marketplace for selling used clothes, mostly panties, for fetish purposes, masks are being sold between $5 and $250, but on average, most are around $15. So Sydney77, who also primarily sells on Reddit, started selling masks a few weeks after the mandate in March, telling Vice, quote, "I wanted to offer something new and exciting, and I enjoy making people happy in tough times," she said. So, Marissa, how in the world is this legal? I mean, especially when we're trying to get a wrap on it. I understand that, Fauci and the rest of the CDC group said that it's common sense to wear 2 masks at the same time, but I don't think they meant
that's a 2-for-1 special, by the way. That's a 2-for-1 special.
Gotcha.
That's what he's talking about. And thank goodness it is legal, because that's how I've been paying my rent. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, what? I thought I was just learning something new. Shout out to you.
Man, that'd be awesome. I would totally do it. I would have no qualms. 0. I'd be like, here, baby.
I just find it so strange, but I'm also very much intrigued. And for the listeners out there, if the sweet scent of, we got to show this though. Isn't this funny? I found a coronavirus mask in the back of this taxi. Smells a bit, but I'm taking no chances. I guess that's where it originally originated from. So that's a nice look for you, buddy. But listeners, if the sweet scent of someone else's pussy juice gets more people to wear masks, then awesome, I guess. But as a disclaimer, none of this is health advice. That's right. This is Just Talking, where Marissa and I bring the latest news happening around the world this week. And we got a lot for you because this is pretty insane what we're going to start off with. Because in wacky news in the TikTok universe, Gorilla Glue girl, Tessica Brown, has gone viral for using Gorilla Glue as hairspray. Brown, whose hair has been stuck solid for a month, on Wednesday finally had a surgical operation to remove the sticky substance from her hair after failed attempts to use olive, tea tree, and other oils to wash off the glue. So we got a clip of it just released this week of her getting the operation. Pretty insane.
I'm amazed by them.
After all this stuff, okay?
It's just the most brutal thing I've ever seen in my life. Why am I all black? That's
You
so
gotta-
weird.
You gotta turn your camera on. There
No, I had
you
my
are.
okay. I think that was a Zoom glitch.
All I
But
can
like,
say, all I can say for this is, I am actually so glad she did go to social media about it. People have been clowning her. I get it. Look, I don't understand how you use it, but okay, she had to get it done.
well,
Fine.
come
But
on, like,
this
how do you
surgery-
get tangled up into this mess? Don't you think
But
it's
listen,
common
to this,
sense?
surgery cost $12,500, and they did it for free. So if she had not have gone online and done the whole thing about asking for help and it going viral, this never would have happened to her. She tried
That's
to go to
true.
the ER. The ER was like, "Dog, I don't know what to tell you."
You're right.
I guess you're stuck with a helmet head. And I think like, the stars are coming out. They're helping her out. I think this is like a feel good moment, and she's not suing Gorilla Glue. She's put that in TMZ. You tried to rile us up here, TMZ. It's your fault.
No, it's true. I mean, especially when you got Beyonce's hairstylist stepping in, trying to offer her a wig to try to get things better. I know Missy Elliott and Chance the Rapper, out of all people, tried to step in and help her out. But it's good to know that, we're keeping track of 2021, and January was the insurrection. I think it's fair to say that February is Gorilla Glue girl. I think we all know this theme track, but it's all for the reasons that you might not know what's going on in the NBA, because Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban has created a national stir this week when he announced that his team would not participate in the national anthem. A day after Mark Cuban said the national anthem will no longer be played, the NBA said, quote, "All teams will play the national anthem in keeping with longstanding league policy," end quote. And Mark Cuban appeared on ESPN's The Jump, speaking on how his organization has no problem playing the anthem.
We have no problem playing the national anthem at all. I stand for the national anthem. My hand is always over my heart. We've supported the National Flag Foundation and done work with them. That isn't the issue at all. The real issue is how do you express the voices of those who feel the anthem doesn't represent them or causes them consternation.
And, Marissa, this raises more questions, in my opinion, with the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, because why was Mark Cuban allowed to not play the national anthem? And think about this, listeners. Why is this now becoming an issue in the NBA, in the entire country, as ESPN reported this week that Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks have not played the national anthem during preseason and home games this season? So, Marissa, did you know about this? Because I didn't.
So I had no idea about it, and I can guarantee you Adam Silver had no idea about
You think
it.
so?
Oh, I don't think he had any clue about it. I think it came across his desk. And I think because he probably is somebody that is like wholehearted, national anthem, you're standing, the whole nine. He's not enforcing the policy that you must stand, which is a policy. But when it came across his desk, I'm sure he emotionally was like, absolutely not. We're playing it. End of story. Versus having that discussion. And I give props to Mark Cuban. Look, me personally, I think not playing it avoids the discussion that needs to happen that has that how do we incorporate it and have the values of America and our team players. But I give him kudos for listening to his team and trying to figure out how do we deal with it. But it has to be
Do you
talked about. I'm
really think
personally
that his
done with
team
it.
had anything to do with it? Because think
Yes.
about it. The Dallas Mavericks, half of their starting five is European.
I don't care. The other half, and maybe out of half of that half, if you're sitting and you're trying to make a team work as a cohesive force, and there is disgruntled animosity, fighting within, we don't know what's happening. And he's trying to address it and say, look, let's just get this game played. Me personally, I feel like let's go ahead and have what happened in the Super Bowl. You had your awesome black, you had your awesome white, you sang the national anthem. There's your America. Let's call it a day. Let's play sports.
Well, think of it like this, Marissa. When the NBA goes to China during the preseason, they must play the Chinese national anthem.
China's
and also think about it like this too. So what is Cuban expecting from this? Are we supposed to wait for his idea of a perfect union before you start playing the national anthem? Because I find that crazy. There's no way that's going to happen.
Look, this is what I say, the same thing. Whether you want to stand or kneel, that's your choice. Play the anthem. I think it is part of an American tradition now. I don't think it has to be a policy. It's a tradition. Let's play it, stand, kneel, whatever you want to do. And when the cameras are on it, how about the camera just stays on the flag? How about that? Because then you don't have people at home being like, oh, look at that one guy not standing. Oh, look at this. They're not pro-black. Now, you know what? Just take the media out of it.
But I think our generation has been kind of past that. I think we kind of understand. I mean, obviously, Colin Kaepernick is like the first thing that I think of. But I also think it's important to mention, because I don't think most listeners think about this, but in the UK, for example, their national anthem gets played all the time during international games and cup finals, even when their own nation's not even in. So I kind of feel like this came out. But we're moving on. Gotta love this, baby, because the nominations for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's class of 2021 are in, and the list features Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, Tina Turner, Kate Bush, LL Cool J, Shaka Khan, Carole King, Fleetwood Kuti, Dionne Warwick, Todd Rundgren, Devo. Here's the Rock and Rollers.
Devo, homie.
Well, I was,
I'm an 80s fan. I was like, whoa.
But I got so
Devo.
exhausted just reading that list, because now let's get into the Rock and Rollers. Foo Fighters, the Go-Go's, New York Dolls, Iron Maiden, and Rage Against the Machine. And to be eligible for this year's ballot, each nominee's first single or album had to have been released in 1995 or earlier. And Marissa, I mean, I can't stand the fact that it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to begin with, but I buried that hatchet a long time ago. But my question is, how is it that like Jay-Z and the Foo Fighters are nominated this year when, let's say, Mariah Carey or let's say Chicago has more commercial success and long-lasting hits than all of those artists combined? So obviously you can see the list right here. What's your thoughts on this?
All right. So I don't understand why it's called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because it's been inducting non-rock and roll music. And then granted, music that is not rock and roll influences rock and roll. I get it, right? But at the same time, I'm kind of like, there's musicians in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that are like not rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I feel that it's a disservice to people who are rock and roll because they're not getting nominated at all.
Judas
right?
Priest is
So,
one of them. Continue Pat Benatar. I mean, the first female woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Do you know this, Marissa?
Who was the first?
First woman in 1987. That was Aretha Franklin.
Oh my God!
Phenomenal artist, but not rock and roll. The first.
Wow.
So as you can see there, if they're gonna make it very all over the top the place, I don't know. I told myself I buried the hatchet, but obviously I can't come to grips with it. But hey, look, the cool thing that I saw was
Shaka Khan. I don't understand why she's not in it because she's iconic.
Shaka Khan. I kind of thought it was random.
I loved her. I mean,
the thing
they're getting random people in, and she does influence music, generational, coming through a lot.
Well, the thing is that I find with this is, according to the Hall of Fames, they said this is their most racially diverse ballot since 1996, as 9 of the 16 nominees feature people of color. And also, the Foo Fighters and Jay-Z are the only acts this year to appear on the ballot in their first year of eligibility. And the thing that's crazy
Jay-Z.
about it is Dave Grohl could be nominated in it or inducted twice because people
Oh, wow.
forget.
That's
He
right.
got
huh?
in with Nirvana.
That's right.
So,
Nirvana had to
maybe-
be in there.
Maybe he might start some history. Crazy news in the world. So you might be wondering, why did we just play the Pokemon theme song? But that's because select McDonald's are celebrating the 25th anniversary of Pokemon with the promotion that turns their iconic Happy Meal into Pikachu's face. So this has created like a global frenzy among millennials as Pokemon cards are such a hot commodity still in 2021. I mean, nearly every week there's a new record broken for the dollars people are spending on old school packs, and now some are apparently buying the Happy Meals in mass numbers in the hopes of getting all the collectibles and just throwing the food away. So I know that we got a clip here from some of the scalpers that have been around, and I know that McDonald's are even placing restrictions on buying the Happy Meals, though these scalpers are already turning them around for profit and selling them as individual cards with a markup, which is pretty insane. So look at this. This guy got a bundle of the entire inventory for probably one store, going for $1,000 already. And, you know, it's kind of that same craze, right? Marissa, you used to buy the big old school packs, used to open it up, hope to get a few holographic cards. What I've
I
been
love the holographic cards. And then I tripped out when Target, you could like buy a whole package of just holographic cards. And I was like, where's the fun in that? Because the holographic card was like that one slipped in. You're like, woo.
Wasn't that so funny how like Gen X and baby boomers are like so fixated towards like MLB baseball cards, but us in the world of millennials, we're
Pokemon, man. How
obsessed
about
with our
Pog?
anime or Pokemon.
Remember
I find
Pog?
it so hilarious.
Do you remember Pogs?
Pugs?
Pog.
No.
Pogs,
Pog.
the little round thing that you play and collect. All right, I don't know.
No, sorry.
I
That's
guess that's like the older millennial.
yeah. I have to side with
Millennial.
the Gen Z. You're kind of ancient over there, Marissa.
I am. I'm telling you.
But I thought this was also kind of wild in Pokemon related news because the annual Pokemon World Championship was canceled this week because of health and safety concerns. So you will not be seeing that tournament anytime soon, but you can check out Post Malone's live stream venue concert.
Oh my God.
He
It
did.
looks so
with
good.
Pokemon,
I
which is
love
pretty
Post
cool.
Malone. I love him. I do.
So
I mean,
a
I'm not
lot
like
of
in love with him, but I love his music because the motherfucker ain't hot.
well, duh. But I mean, especially like what I used to say before, it's like he's got so many tats on his face that he looks like he's like in a half morphine phase of Venom, and he's gonna be like, I told you. But get this, this was kind of crazy news because Tesla said in a Monday SEC filing that the company had invested $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and would start accepting it as a form of payment. So Tesla's move into Bitcoin this week had the oldest bank in the US, BNY Mellon, on Thursday announcing that it would become the first global bank to create a digital asset service later in 2021. And on top of that, MasterCard also announced on Wednesday that it would start supporting certain cryptocurrencies later this year. So Marissa, like, are people blind to the impact Bitcoin is going to have in our future?
Yes. Okay. So I wish I had money to buy Bitcoin. I can't even pay my rent.
Yeah.
Like that's not even like on my horizon.
Well, they said
But-
10 years ago, a
Well,
Bitcoin
10 years
cost
ago,
$1.
When it first came out, I have to have a lot of friends that have Bitcoin and are supposedly worth $500,000 to $1 million, and they're still living in an apartment. So I don't know how they're working with that one.
They're just waiting to deposit it. That's right.
What
That's right.
I'm
Or withdrawal.
interested in, I mean, when will this bubble burst? Because cryptocurrency is based off of like nothing. We just say it has value. That's it. It's not like gold or silver where there's actually like how much diamonds, how many are in the world, stuff like that. There's like, we just say it has value.
Well,
I
I
mean,
don't
I
know.
think it's
I don't
awesome. I think
actually.
it's
I would
amazing.
have to totally disagree with you on that one. I'll
Uh-huh.
tell you why. Because
Why?
Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, who also owns Square, it's a mobile payment processor. You might have seen him back at concert venues at the time when they used to slice, a credit card on your phone.
Mhm.
That's his company. Well, he invested $50 billion in Bitcoin, and he has over 4,709 coins.
Yep.
4,709 coins equal $50 billion. So I would say, Marissa, there is value on it.
No, I'm not saying there isn't value, but the value comes because we say it has value, right? I mean, which is like anything. If we say gold is
Well,
worth
who's to say
nothing,
that
gold is
all
worth
the
nothing.
people have
I
to
get
make?
that,
I
but
feel
there's
like it's the
nothing-
rich are the
there's
only
nothing
ones that are able to do
physical
it.
to it, other than the fact that we're buying it and we're buying it up into a crate. That's what I'm saying. And I wish I had some Bitcoin. So if anybody wants
Right.
to donate me a Bitcoin, feel free.
Well, this was kind of wild because on Varney and Company this week, Stuart Varney stated that, did you know that Bitcoin uses more electricity than Argentina and that Bitcoin miners have more of a carbon footprint from New Zealand? Pretty wild.
No
And
way.
and
Oh, my
this is the
heart
perfect
just broke.
transition. This is the perfect transition to our next topic, right? Because this is pretty wild. We'll let the music play out because you got to hear this because it's hard to believe, but this is real. More than 8 million people around the world die each year as a result of breathing polluted air that contains particles from fossil fuels. So in a study published in the Journal of Environmental Research on Tuesday, researchers found that the exposure to this matter from fossil fuel emissions accounted for 18% of the total global deaths. So that's almost 1 in 5 in 2018. So according to the data, researchers estimate that China's move to cut its fossil fuels emissions saved 2.4 million lives worldwide, including 1.5 million in China. So research has found a link now between higher levels of long-term pollution and more deaths from COVID-19. So Marissa, to me, like, what horrible news to discover this week during a
Okay, I'm
virus-plagued
like,
pandemic.
first off, I am heartbroken that Bitcoin is contributing to our
Right.
global pandemic. And I wish Brock Pierce was in here right now to address this because he is all about environmental cleaning. And how has he not brought this up? I know he knows. Brock, I'm calling you out.
Of course, if you know that you're in Bitcoin, you obviously know the impact it has,
Did you know also, another little fact here, that New York subways and New Jersey subways has the highest amount of pollution underground, more than some cities in Beijing and India.
Wow.
And they're trying to figure out why, because foot traffic has even lessened and the particle amount is still as high as if they had high amount of traffic. So,
well, think about it like this, though. 8 million people die worldwide from the result of breathing in this polluted air. And we just told you that 2.4 million lives worldwide have died from this, including 1.5 million in China.
could you imagine, like,
responsible for half the deaths?
but honestly, if China, because they are innovative, they're out there, they're cutting edge in technology, and I give them kudos for that for a developing country. Imagine if they actually turned their attention on fixing pollution, what could happen? Because it's not enough for first world countries in the Paris Climate Agreement be the ones only trying to fix this. You got to get China on board. We got to get India. We've said it many, many, many times. Just saying it again.
So true, fam. And I know we got one more thing that we'd love to talk to you about on Just Talking, because it's hard to ignore, right? And that wasn't really the greatest sappy music.
No, that was so horrible.
There was like no love in that, because there is no love, because the last 12 months have been tough, especially for single people like me. And now that Valentine's Day is tomorrow, you have a higher chance of your ex texting you a winky face than you finding love during COVID-19. So like many of you cheeky bastards, you've used all the dating apps out there, and Bumble saw nearly a 70% increase in video calls after the state of emergency. So Marissa, call me old school, or maybe I have lost my mojo, because I'll have to wait for the world to go back to normal before I ever decide to right and regret later.
If you were allowed to leave your house, I would say go on Bumble, right? I think it's a great place to go on there. The women have control, so you don't have to waste your time clicking all these women hoping you catch a fish, right? Because the women are the one that go after the men, which I'm all about. But you're not allowed out of the house. So don't date, Chris.
My thing is, Marissa, I feel like the universe has been saying, like, hey, look, Chris, I know you want to get out there, but then it says, think again, as it released like this like deadly virus disease preventing us all humans from, performing sex positions and all. But the wild thing, you did mention Bumble, and I do have this little fun fact here because the Bumble's female-founded dating app topped $13 billion this week in its marketing debut. So I think love is still in the air. All right, our guest on Strike a Chord is indie pop artist Chloe Wilder, who has recently debuted her new EP, Teenage Lullabies, joining us on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show. And I know she's about to come on in. We know the
Yeah,
world
we're
is
having her
yours.
start
I
her
think
video.
you would be more
Hi.
involved with Zoom than anything. What's going on, Chloe? How you
Ooh,
doing?
You got some red filters happening.
I do. I have
Wow.
my pink light on.
I love
like
it.
it. I
You're
like
already
it.
setting the tone already.
Oh
And I
yeah.
love it. I mean, very much the aesthetic of your cover for Teenage Lullabies. And let's get right on into it, Chloe, because, you say that you're a sad girl because, you seem like a lovely gal, though. Why do you personally connect with writing sad music?
It's literally just the way I've always written. When I started writing music when I was 12, I went to my first writing camp when I was 12, and they asked me what I wanted to write, and it just came out as sad music. And that's what I listen to myself. It's just so easy, and that's what naturally comes out no matter what I'm writing about. But yeah, I think it's just like my comfort zone. And more recently, I've tried to get out of it, but I am definitely a sad girl, and I couldn't even tell you why.
Well, you're so young, and my whole thing was, it's like, obviously when you listen to mainstream media, there's a lot of popular music today that's all about, degrading women. You got the man whores, the sex, drugs, rock and roll, you name it. But your lyrics are deeply personal when it comes to your opening track on Teenage Lullabies. The track's called It's True. And you sing this particular line that stuck with me. It says, bodies like museums displayed in pieces, proving that we're women, and call it freedom. What is this teenage lullaby that you sing of?
Well, that line in particular, I think just being a teenage girl, and I've been on social media like professionally since I was 11. So I think I've just really seen the dark side of the media from a teenage girl's perspective. And I think that we've all had those experiences. So yeah, I don't think it's a very pretty place to be on as a young girl. But I mean, I'm still doing it, and I'm making it work. Yeah. But I felt like it was important to talk about. But yeah, I just think that we're constantly being objectified, especially on there, and especially as young women. And, as a young female artist too, I felt like it was important to talk about.
I like that you bring this up because I've looked at your stuff on Insta and going through your music videos, and I didn't realize how old you were. Mm-hmm. You're 14. And when I look at your stuff, I see a young woman who's I would peg you about 17-ish, just because of how you're putting yourself out there in a way of an older teenager. And when I say that, it's sexuality, stuff like that. And for me, I love that you brought this up because I became sexually active at a very young age. I was 12. I said, I'm going to grow up. This is it. Biggest mistake of my life. Yeah. Right. And now I'm a mother to a young girl, and seeing that you're out here now, how do you stay enjoying 14? The carefree time. What do you do to keep that part of yourself versus jumping into being grown up?
I don't think I've ever acted my age, and I don't think I am now. So I would say I'm still enjoying 14, but I don't think I am, because I'm not going to regular school. I'm virtual schooled. I'm an artist. I basically have a job, but that's kind of the way I wanted it to be. I've never really felt my age, and I feel like now I'm actually putting it out into the world, and I'm making the music that I want to make, and it's showing that I've never felt my age. So yeah, I really don't know. I don't balance it well. I really think I've grown up too fast, but it was my own doing, and I'm pretty aware of that. But I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, because I'm very comfortable in my own skin now, because I know that it's okay to not feel how old you are, and I've gotten more comfortable with that.
Well, you know, I do touch on it very well when you were talking about your lyrics in your particular line. It's true. And I wanted to ask you this question before we play the music video. I know the first social media I was kind of introduced. I mean, obviously AOL Messenger was kind of there, but I don't really consider that so much a social media network. My first one was MySpace, and I remember how much of a pain in the ass it was to decide who were the top 8 to be in there, because you know friends can be very clashy, and so I just put bands there. What social media account did you jump on first?
Instagram. And I had Instagram. I think I got Instagram when I was 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was in high school. So
Pretty jaded with social media, but yeah, and I had that, and I mean I had like 200 followers. I had like my school and my bio and like my age. Like I was super, it was just very like a normal way to use social media. But then I started using it professionally like the following year. And I think that's why we have such a weird relationship, because I never really got to know social media in a way that was purely for social use.
Right. And I know we're about to be playing you your opening track to your EP, Teenage Lullabies, and this song is called It's True.
Maybe there's a reason we're all leaving, move to different places, following our demons, bodies like museums, displayed in pieces, proving that we're women and call it freedom. I see visions, plans we're making, every time I close my eyes. I don't make friends cause I'll break them with a teenage lullaby. And it won't last, but they say that it's the best time of our lives. Out the night until I die. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's I've been falling for the bad ones. I've been falling trying to find love, but they've been running on the same tracks, and I'm running out of patience. If you could give me just a few months, I'll be playing with the grown-ups. You'll always wonder why you never even tried. I see visions, plans we're making, every time I close my eyes. I don't make friends cause I'll break them with a teenage lullaby. And it won't last, but they say that it's the best time of our lives. Out the night until I die. It's true. It's true. It's true. It's
That's so good. That is Chloe Wilder, and that's her track, It's True. And that's like probably the most.
Your screen is black again, Chris.
Oh, that's
your
got to
screen
be a
back on.
Zoom thing. Okay, there we go. That's so weird. That's a new thing. But
I
that was
love the picture of you in the water and like just lying there. I want that. I want that photo shoot. That's the photo shoot I want. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
But you know, Marissa already jumped on this, but this was something I wanted to talk with you right after this song. But I find what an incredible milestone in your early career to rack up over 150,000 plus views on multiple music videos without even playing a single live concert yet at the age of 14. That is so insane.
And during a pandemic, like, I'm sorry, like getting word out,
Right.
getting word out during a pandemic is so hard because we're being forced with so much stuff happening all the time, put into our face on social media. So the fact that people are seeing your stuff, gravitating towards it, liking it, playing it, sharing it, kudos, dude.
Thank you.
So, like, what is your message for young artists and fans struggling to find the light at the end of the tunnel during COVID-19? Because obviously you got it going on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just so lucky about the people I'm surrounded with and that I actually have a good team. And I feel like that's what got me here because during COVID, I'm only, I can only work with a few people at a time. And so my team has gotten smaller and smaller. And now it's just like this core group of people and we work really well together. And I think that that's the only thing that like got me through it because I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. And that's like I can't say that that's like my piece of advice or anything because it's hard to say, oh, just find good people to be around. But I mean, I took this time too to like find my creative process and find how I do want to put myself out there and how I want to present myself. I made this whole EP during the pandemic. And I feel like that is how I look at it now. I just was forced to take time to figure out myself artistically. And I feel like that's a really, really good thing that I wasn't doing before. So that's what I'd say. Like if you're struggling with the fact that, you can't play live shows, just think about how good your live shows are going to be once you can, because you're taking this time to really perfect your craft. And then when you can put it out there in people's faces in real life, they're going to love you even more because it's perfect. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Do you feel like being in a pandemic for up and coming artists has kind of created this like equal playing ground for anybody to kind of find their spotlight?
I don't know. I guess in a way, I feel like we're all struggling. So that's probably what it is because it's new for everybody. Nobody knows how to navigate this. So I think definitely that we're all pretty equal right now because we're all just trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to figure out how to, use social media to talk to our fans and how to get ourselves out there without playing live shows. So I totally think it's gotten more equal.
And I love that you said how like staying on your laurels and like staying, every artist that was on the 2020 grind, when 2021 allows us to go out and be in concerts, you're the artists that are going to make that difference versus the ones that just sat during 2020 being sad and depressed and not making art.
But the thing that I wanted to mention with you though, Chloe, is I feel like this pandemic is robbing the cradle from your generation because I hope you, Chloe, is finding some time to just be 14. It's a long journey to being an adult. So is there anything outside music that has contributed to your musicality? Like, is there a hobby that kind of gets your creative juices going when something does not click for you?
I wish I could tell you there was one. But honestly, this is like the only thing I do. Like it's really just music. And I mean, I'm virtual schooled, so I do school and that's really it. And I feel like whenever I'm not doing school, I just want to write music because I love it. And it's kind of everything for me. It's therapeutic and I'm putting it out there and people are listening to it. It's my art. Like, I feel like it's just kind of works for me like that. But I mean, I feel like what I draw inspiration from is mostly just the people around me. And that's obviously something that's changed too during this pandemic. So I mean, just spending time with people is really where I get it. I don't really have any other hobbies.
Well, I was going to say, Chloe, this track that we're about to play is my favorite song off your EP, Teenage Lullabies. And this song is called I Want to Be Alone with You. And I wanted to ask you this before we start playing the track. You sing more than once in this song. It's so bittersweet. I could stay here for the rest of my life. If looks could kill, then I'd die. And when I first heard that, I mean, I got this upbeat feeling that you're making fun of the idea of daydreaming about teenage love. Am I onto something?
You kind of are because like I never write songs like this. And so I feel like the song is so in your face and confident that it has to be sarcastic. But I mean, honestly, I feel like it's kind of how I think when I'm in those scenarios. I mean, we're going to be together forever type of thing. But like, it's not like that. So I feel like that's just how we think I don't know about the whole teenage population, but that's how I see it. So yeah, I was just kind of like but we never say it. Like, that's how we're thinking, but we would never say that to a person's face. Like, you're so hot, I'm gonna die. Like, we never.
Right.
So it's just, I just said everything that we're kind of thinking, I think.
I love it. Well, I know my mom's going to kill me, but I used to make this joke all the time. You know, if you could be a bachelor till you're 40 and Bill Maher can do it, then I can too. So you don't have to always rush love, but this is Cloe Wilder and this is her track, I Want to Be Alone with You. That is Cloe Wilder, and you are listening to the Chris Collins Show, Millennial Talk Show, and this is Strike a Chord, where we break down all the greatest hits. If you actually physically or digitally pick up that record, you're going to know this track. And that song was called I Want to Be Alone with You, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite pre-courses going in. It just really kicks off strong. And I don't know about you, Chloe. Have you read some of your comments online? Because they're pretty good. I mean, there's one in particular, and I know we're going to be playing this music video for the listening audience. And that song is, this comment was under your Call Me If You Need Me. And this person, this individual said, I'm sorry, but no other person is doing it like Chloe. And she's age 14. I mean, how cool is that to have people recognize real, right?
It makes me feel so good because even though I'm like confident in my music that I'm putting out, it's really, really nice to hear other people say it. And yeah, I love reading those comments.
So you are one of those people that will read, because I know some people, when they start to get that rising fame, it's like, oh my gosh, do I even want to look? I know sometimes even with our own content, I'm like, oh God, do I even want to read some of the, the buffoons online? But you actually got a nice positivity crowd.
I've noticed that too. I'm lucky that like I haven't gotten really a lot of negative feedback. And also I feel like, it's real people really listening to my music. And I feel like it's kind of, this is just my personal thing. Like I feel like I kind of owe it to them to at least like, you know, read what they're saying, especially since I am still a smaller artist. Like I want to be able to talk to them personally while I can. And so that's why, you know, I do my own Instagram and I do all of that because I like to actually talk to them, because it just means so much that they're like taking the time out of their day to listen to what I'm reading.
You remind me of Ariana Grande with responding back to your fans. It's one reason why she is as big as she is. I mean, her music's amazing, but her fan base is so loyal because she does reach out. And you totally have this like old soul vibe. So even though you're 14, you really are handling yourself from what I can see as a mature young woman. And I give you props, man, because I'm telling you, as a young girl, I was the opposite. I mean, I was definitely like partying hard and crazy and out of control at 14. You got your stuff together.
But I would say, I feel like I'm talking to a young artist who finally gets it. And not enough up and coming artists do what you've been doing, especially in your early career. And that's recording cover songs to enhance your exposure to a new audience. And that's something I never understood still to this day, why no one does that enough. And when did you start recording cover songs?
Ooh, I was 12, I think, because I just went to my first writing camp and I was like, actually, I had a bunch of original music that I could have been putting out, but that felt like too serious to start off with. So then, I just decided to do some cover songs to like introduce myself to people, but not in such a formal, serious way, like putting out your own original music. And also I felt like it really helped when I did finally start putting out music, because people knew me already and they knew me as a musician, but they didn't know me as an artist. So it totally, I'm really glad that I did that.
And do you remember the first cover song you ever recorded?
Last Christmas by Wham, I think. That was the first one that was the first one that made it out, but the first one I ever recorded was Blue Velvet.
Ooh, see, that's not an easy song to sing. So kudos for you to do that. I think that's so cool. And we're about to be playing you a track off one of your singles, and this is called Call Me If You Need Me.
Good things come to those who wait. I'm older, but it's not too late. I'm moving to a whole new state. I guess we couldn't fight our fate. It's over and you know it. Live and let go. It's darkest before the new dawn. We hold on to the moment, scared to let go. It takes time moving on. And I don't miss you tonight. Looking for a reason I should stay another night. Call me if you need me, but I need to find my way, even if it's not right. Used to be alone for so long. Used to being on my own. Call me if you need me, but I need to find my way to another life, another life. Don't act like I didn't try. Always over compromise. One more thing I left behind. When I think of you, I don't think twice. It's over and you know it. Live and let go. It's darkest before the new dawn. We hold on to the moment, scared to let go. It takes time moving on. And I don't miss you tonight. Looking for a reason
another glitch again. You're listening to the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show, and that is Cloe Wilder, and that's her track, Call Me If You Need Me. And I love everything about you. So what I'm going to say is, Lana Del Rey, move over. We got a new young rising star coming in.
Wow.
We love you,
Thank
fam.
you.
No, you really got something going on, and much success to you, and keep in touch because we love you, fam. And for all the listening audience that wants to check out your music and follow you on social media, where can they follow you at?
I am Cloe Wilder everywhere. Chloe with no H, CLOE. But yeah, you can literally find me everywhere. I'm everywhere.
Love it, fam. Love the pink aesthetic. And hopefully
Thank
we'll catch
you.
you around in the future on the Chris College Show, Millennial Talk Show.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Ciao,
much.
Bella.
Peace, Chloe.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
That is so weird. This zoomy
Why are you
zoom.
zooming?
This
Hey,
zoomy
so,
zoom.
What's good this week, Chris? I get to say
Right?
my
Well,
last.
I'd say what's good is Chloe Wilder, but this is also what's good too. And, obviously when you go on channels 2 through 11, there's so much negativity online. And Marissa and I, we bring you the good deets, all right? So listeners, did you know that the world uses 6 million plus masks a day? But scientists in Melbourne, Australia, have a genius way to turn them into roads. So a team of researchers in Melbourne discovered that adding millions of discarded masks to road paving mixtures would lower the cost of paving roads while diverting billions of them from landfills. So with this new technology, just 1 kilometer of road would need 3 million masks. So Marissa, the idea that billions of people are going through a few masks a week during this pandemic definitely rings alarm bells. So what's your thoughts on all this? I think this is so groovy.
I love it. And the only thing I have a problem with technology like this is how realistic is it really? Is America going to do this? Is India? Is China? Or no, they're not going to. It's going to cost so much money.
Remember
Melbourne.
hold on. Remember last year, if you remember this, we talked about this almost a year ago when in Washington, there was an initiative that they were starting to put these tile-like solar panels on the road, so it would keep the road cool. So when it got snowy or whatever, that's more costly in my opinion.
But I mean, how many towns have that? Okay. Like, I'm gonna be really serious. I love the technology, but that's the problem with advanced technology is how do we get countries to actually do it more than just one little tiny place in Melbourne?
Well,
right? That needs to be a worldwide initiative. And how do we get that out there?
Well, I think you're jumping right on to it because I know according to the company that's called Fast Company, Lee and his team are looking for private industry partners or governments willing to give their plastic mask roads an opportunity for a large scale test. So
Elon Musk.
Come on, Elon.
Musk.
I mean, we were joking earlier. I mean, $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, that's like 0.5% of his income. So that's pretty insane. But we also want to give a shout out again to Cloe Wilder for joining us for a Strike a Chord segment. Check her out everywhere. Just remember, she wanted us to let you know this. There's no H. It's CLOE. Cloe
right.
Wilder. And, if you like what you were listening to, go to thechriscollegeshow.com and become a member today. And if you are the first 50, you can get that free CCS t-shirt.
And who's our guest for next week?
You're going to need to keep a lookout this Monday for our guest announcement. And if you like what you're listening to again, check us out, fam. Don't forget to subscribe. We love you. We'll see you next week. Peace. Our brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
I love it. It's more time to chat.
Hello.
You would look
Can you
so
hear me?
jazzy. I love your outfit. How far would you go to start playing live music again? This slaps harder than my ex when she got her stimulus check. So, are you here to bring the sexual healing with your music? It's called Everything is Everything, and I guarantee you're going to hear this song in the future. I love the flow, man. Politically charged album. So, if you get easily offended, this might not be the album for you. Brand new podcast, Off the Fret.
So excited.
has Kim Kardashian accidentally sent you a coochie shot?
Do you want to stay there? It's completely your choice. Or you want to...
I feel you. And you know what? I love it. Off the Fret. More music talk. Peace.